You now live to Jerusalem. The night team's Rosh Lowe is there with the first of many reports he'll be filing during the Federation's 10-day trip. Rosh?
Well, this is a fascinating time to be in Jerusalem. You can see the flickering lights of the city behind me, a city with such rich history. Usually when Israel is in the news, you will hear about politics, combat, and confrontation. Tonight will be a bit different. We'll show you the spiritual pull of this city and what has attracted a record-sized number of people from South Florida to come right here. Before you even touch the soil of Israel, you take those steps off the plane and you are greeted by these little faces.
It's my first time here. I'm so excited. I'm going to cry. Very emotional. Very emotional.
These are the children of the Israeli soldiers. Many of these children, they don't speak English. They simply say shalom, which means hello. But what a sight to see as the people from South Florida arrive in the Holy Land. The group in total exceeds 700 plus people. This is organized by the Greater Miami Jewish Federation.
It's just a great feeling to see that feel that you're a part of their family and they welcome you just like you were an Israeli.
This mission spans all ages, 22 to 88. There are students and professionals, Holocaust survivors, children of survivors. More than 20% of this group has never been to Israel, including myself. We are standing here at the holiest spot in the world for Jews. Jews from all over come right here to have their prayers heard and answered. And what is so fascinating about this mega mission trip is that 700 plus Jews still came to Israel, even though the state is going through some very difficult times. This week, you will hear more about the threats to Israel, Israel's future. But on this night, our camera scans the heart of Jerusalem, and there is a continuity which is vibrant.
The last time I was here was in 1957, and you couldn't go to the wall. So coming back here all these years later and seeing that, it really did. It filled me up.
And so much of this trip, the Miami Mega Mission, is going back and looking at your history. Take a look here. We are standing in an area which was recently excavated that is thought to be the palace of King David. And look at these stones. And then just over my shoulder here, that mountain with the cemetery, that is the Mount of Olives, important to both Jews and Christians. This is why more than 700 people left their homes in South Florida to come here to the Holy Land, to walk through tunnels that have survived generation after generation. Tunnels built by David, a king of Israel, to touch their heritage and their history. We're so touched. We were on many trips, and that one woman mentioned it. She just began to cry. But there is the political reality. We will get into that tomorrow night. We have spoken with Israeli governmental officials, and the Iran threat is real and is on the minds of many here. And perhaps that's the reason why we have such a strong show of support. That number, 700 plus people, that is a record, as we have mentioned. Other federations throughout the country do this type of mission, but 700 people, moving them from one city to another is quite a feat, and we're here for the journey, so stay with us this week. For now, we are live in Jerusalem. Rosh Lowe, 7 News, Night Team.
And we're going to look forward to more from Rosh in the coming days. All of his reports live from Jerusalem here on the Night Team. Stay with 7 News and WSVN.com for continuing coverage.
Well, it is night number 2 of our journey to Jerusalem.
7 News traveling with the Greater Miami Jewish Federation on their 10-day trip. And tonight the focus shifts to heightened tensions with Iran. The Night Team's Rosh Lowe, the only South Florida television reporter traveling with the group, joins us once again live from Jerusalem. Rosh.
First thing here, yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu coming out and saying that if the economic sanctions against Iran are going to work, they better work soon. What's incredible about being here with all of these people from back home in South Florida is to actually witness their love for Israel, how they have literally picked up their lives, traveled halfway across the globe to the Holy Land to not only get themselves inspired spiritually, but to be unified and to stand up for Israel.
A siren wails at night in Jerusalem. People on the streets stop. This is the beginning when Israel remembers their fallen soldiers. Again the following day. But let me bring this home to South Florida. These people here, and they number in the hundreds, are from Miami. They are in Israel as part of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation's mega mission to Israel.
Amazing. And this is my first time visiting Israel.
It's your first time, and what do you think?
I'm overwhelmed. I really am.
And this record-sized group coming from South Florida to Israel is during a very rich time on the Israeli calendar. This week, Israelis will celebrate both Remembrance Day and Independence Day, which follow each other. And there is no doubt this is a very trying time for the state of Israel.
The threat of Iran's nuclear program very worrisome to Israelis, and it's what mission members are talking about.
I think Iran is going to become it is already a huge issue for Israel, and I think that the Israeli government knows it, and they're working vehemently to see how they decide how they deal with it.
And Israeli government officials like Yuli Edelstein.
I think that every normal person should be concerned about a crazy dictator who is desperately trying to be in possession of nuclear weapons. I think that it's just very important for everyone to understand that Ahmadinejad, at least in his sick mind, has much bigger plans than attacking Israel.
The detail to security and heightened tension is evident everywhere you turn in Jerusalem. You see young 18 and 19-year-old men and women on the front lines of this battle. But what makes this country so unique is the combination of tension and spiritual peace, like this picture here. The Israeli soldiers by the Western Wall, military and prayer, and those with the Miami mega mission holding on to that spiritual energy and realizing that this is a critical time for the Jewish state.
Always a challenge, like for the Jewish people, but survivors. I mean, the land is miraculous.
And tomorrow night we'll have another incredible story. We went with Holocaust survivors from South Florida to Yad Vashem, the world's largest Holocaust museum. And what you will see is that this is not just about the past. This is very much about concerns for the future. We're live in Jerusalem tonight. Rosh Lowe, 7 News 19.
Well, Rosh will bring us more reports on several topics over the next several days, all of them live from Jerusalem here on the night team. So stay with 7 News and WSVN.com for continuing. Night 3 of our journey to Jerusalem, home to the largest Holocaust memorial in the world.
Today, survivors from South Florida, along with their children, visited the memorial, part of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation's 10-day trip to Israel. The night team's Rosh Lowe joining us once again live. He has more on today's emotional visit. Rosh?
And this really affects our community back home in South Florida. As you know, we have many Holocaust survivors who live in our community. And as they are getting older, there is more of an importance of telling their story. So just imagine when they and their children fly to Israel and go to this museum. Very emotional.
When you walk into Yad Vashem, the world's largest Holocaust museum, you walk down a street lined with trees planted for non-Jews who risked their lives to save Jewish lives. We are with a tour of survivors and children of survivors. All these people here from South Florida who have made their way to the Holy Land as part of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation's trip to Israel.
And when you speak about current threats to Israel, the Holocaust is still very much there. In fact, look at this here. You are looking at shoes of innocent children who were sent to their deaths. Shoes that actually almost fill up this exhibit. And this left a big impression on the people who traveled here.
I think as a child of survivors, you are marching for the living from the day that you are born because you feel their pain.
Hannah Shear there to lay a wreath with her mother, a Holocaust survivor, and her niece. Generations affected.
It's my home, and so is Eretz Israel. So the coming together of all these components of my friends and family from Miami, those that are here with, at least with us here, and being in Jerusalem.
This is the combination that touched so many. 700 plus people coming to Israel from Miami, being in the Holy Land together.
And to see our people from our community to be here, to take part in this ceremony, gives a sense of comfort.
Comfort at a time when Israel is under constant threat. This was not just to remember the atrocities, but to come together to make sure that the annihilation of Jewish lives doesn't happen again.
Just to be able to share that responsibility with more people, more Jews, because we're all children of the Holocaust.
This week in Israel, we have seen the memorials to those who have defended the Jewish state. We have seen an entire community in South Florida come together as one to make their own statement. They join Israel in their fight, and to show the world the current threat to Israel is not just a Jewish issue, but a global issue that has pierced the heart of South Florida.
We've mentioned throughout the week 700 plus people time and again coming to Israel from Miami. This was not an easy task. In fact, there were 16 different buses going throughout Israel. But I can tell you this from being here, this was a very special experience for each and every one of them. We're live in Jerusalem tonight. Rosh Lowe, 7 News 19.
Well, Rosh is going to be bringing us more reports on a variety of topics as the journey continues, all of them live from Jerusalem right here on the Night Team. Stay with 7 News.